Welcome back to the Solutions Lab. I am Chris Phillips here for this Solutions Lab webcast, and today we're going to be talking about Logitech and Microsoft Teams and how they can collaborate to make a better conferencing experience for everyone. And to help me with this conversation, I've got two amazing guests with me. I have Liam from Microsoft. Liam, how's it going?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon.
And I got Andrew from Logitech. Andrew, how's it going over there?
Doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So this is going to be a little different than our normal Solution Lab webcast. We don't have a long-winded demo, but we have a great conversation lined up for you guys. We want you guys to be part of that conversation as well. So if at any point you have any questions, anything you would like to interject into this conversation, there is a Q&A window on the, I believe it's on the right-hand side. Go ahead, ask any questions, send us any comments you have. We want you guys to be as part of this conversation as Liam and Andrew is. If you want additional information about any things you're hearing about, we do also have a resources tab on the page as well. That'll be available post webcast for your information as well. But without further ado, I kind of want to get the ball rolling here and get things going. And I want to start off with you, Liam, and I want to talk a little bit about how Microsoft Teams has evolved over the last year and a half, specifically because of the pandemic and the situation we're in right now. We've seen kind of Teams take this just drastic evolutionary step in a lot of different directions. I wanted to kind of get your thoughts of how Teams has evolved in the last year and a half, and your thoughts of where Teams is going to be going in the next year and a half.
Sure. I think suffice it to say, feature releases have been very prominent lately. Coming to realization that there are certain functionalities that would be more helpful across the board. Whether that's something that has been provided by feedback by the general users, or it's something that maybe even, realistically a competitor has, and we've realized, yeah, this makes sense. We need to go ahead and place this into our ecosystem for the application as well. But to also build onto that and come up with more ideas when we take like an envisioning style approach. Teams as it looks today doesn't really look the same way that it did, 6 months to a year ago. A lot of features have come out and enhanced that, and it's going to be increasing even more so. So the way Teams is going to start to grow and mature even more, we're going to see a lot of other features that are going to be put into the application and platform that are really going to help these workers, no matter where they are, whether they're frontline workers or whether they're remote or on site. We want everybody to have a cohesive experience. And that's kind of why we've really chosen to partner with specific OEMs and other manufacturers out there that can help us deliver devices and the experience to go along with that.
Awesome. So I guess kind of the next logical question is for those of the resellers that are watching this that don't currently use Teams, what are the key selling features of the Teams platform that you see that a lot of current Teams users seem to resonate best with them?
A lot of the flexibility of leveraging probably an already in-house Microsoft platform and ecosystem using M365, for example. Everything just connects right to it very easily. Spinning up licenses for user accounts or even room accounts is a very simplified process nowadays when you've got a platform that's already in place that reaches out to things like maybe the Azure Active Directory or any kind of configuration and setup that's already in place today. We're starting to see a lot of the phase out of the more legacy-based products and platforms that are out there, and pretty much everybody is moving to cloud services these days. Skype for Business had a really great concept behind it, and now that has grown and matured into something much more versatile into the Teams ecosystem, we're going to see a lot more use of that as time goes on.
Yeah, and I think you hit on one of the key points is that it just kind of all works together within the Microsoft ecosystem. The greatest example I can give is, as part of the Teams groups that I'm with, we're constantly throwing back and forth PowerPoint presentations or just documents, and just having other people looking at it and just being able to I'm on the road now, I got to go pick up my kid from school, and someone sends a document, I can just pull that up in the car, look at it real quick, like, yep, that looks good, and send the message all from a single application, whether it's on my phone or on the computer. It just kind of seamlessly works together.
Yeah, and I mean, even look at the new features like PowerPoint Live just being released over the last quarter or so. That really expanded those capabilities. So you didn't really need to have like a localized version of a piece of content or a deck, for example, that you were trying to share and distribute. You could actually stream it right through your Teams meeting. So that's just one of the many examples that are out there of the features that were really called upon by the field that said, hey, this would make our job so much easier.
One more question before we kind of jump over and start talking about the Logitech side of things. Do you have any features that I can't talk about any features that you guys aren't ready to talk about, but are there any features that are on your personal wish list that you would like to see integrated into Teams as we kind of keep moving forward?
I mean, for my personal wish list, I like the live meeting aspect of things, like a live event, just like we're doing today. The Teams platform has really grown a lot from that, and there is so much more that's coming. I wish I could talk about it publicly, but I am under NDA myself, so I can't do that. But just know that there's a lot of expansion that's being put into place to really help with a mindset of a hybrid workforce environment. It's a buzz phrase right now. You're going to hear that all the time, hybrid work, hybrid work. And what that really means is being able to prepare for both types of situations of people who are physically going to be in offices and be able to actually be there and touch the devices. And then also people who are going to be remote, who need to be able to connect and actually feel like they're a part of that meeting and not just some disjointed worker that's, lost in the distance there and doesn't really have any connectivity to what's really going on in the meeting besides watching a screen. Those kinds of times are phasing out. So we're seeing a lot more interactivity coming, and those are the feature sets that we're building today. So I mean, undoubtedly, you're going to see a lot of marketing materials coming from Microsoft and really everywhere about hybrid work, and that's what we're looking to engage with to make sure that those people feel like they can connect no matter where they are.
Yeah, hybrid work is kind of the big, I don't even want to call it a buzzword because it's the big reality we live in, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. There's a question from Brett that I wanted to throw at you. He was asking, is there any guides or sites that we can point customers to get to cover the basics of Teams? He seems to be getting a lot of questions on the basics. He would love to know if there's a place that he can go to download kind of basic how-tos for Teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, and it's not just Teams, there's Teams rooms aspects of things too. So there are interactive guides that can walk through a full-on deployment or integration of Teams, and then all the way through actually getting, room hardware and setting that up and doing the configuration on the back end through the Teams admin console and such. We're certainly happy to provide some reference material on those.
Oh yeah, and that was one of the things that we really wish we could have done today, is actually kind of go through and do like a full, like, all right, let's take a Logitech Tap, let's take the Rally Bar, let's take a Nook, let's take everything, and let's go in there and show everyone how to set up Teams. We would have been at that for about 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a bit of a process, but we do have guides that'll help streamline that.
But we also are committed to be able to at least get you guys some information. So I can say, from the DNA side, it's definitely something we want to further train our resellers on, is how to go about setting up Teams rooms, because you'll see in a little bit, once you've got a Teams room set up, especially with a Tap attached to it, it is the easiest thing in the world to use. It is so simple, so user friendly. And I'll make one more note. I would love to see events come into Teams as well. I actually was attending a wedding 2 weeks ago, and they wanted to stream the wedding to about 12 people that couldn't make it. I was out of state. We used a different platform that also did not have an events way to do it. Boy, that's a nightmare. So if Teams could make that easier for me, I would be, because I know I'm going to be asked to do it again. Because you, Liam, me, Andrew, we're all kind of the tech guys, especially in our families, and
right.
Tech support holidays are coming up for everyone. So, God bless your souls. But
yeah, you guys are not making our job easier.
Church, so
There's a lot of challenge.
Church now.
What was
Oh,
that?
church,
Andrew?
yeah.
I was just saying, I got even called to do it at church now. So, I mean,
Yep.
there's not a day of the week that I don't do some sort of tech for video conferencing.
We don't even get Sundays off.
Nope.
We go into
Nope.
church and something's not working, and we get, hey, you know about this stuff, right? Yeah, I do. Let me go back there and help you guys out. But anyway, Andrew, now that we kind of have talked about Teams for a little bit, why don't you kind of give us a little bit of intro on what's new with Logitech in terms of their collaboration products and what they're bringing to the Teams platform?
Well, so I like to talk about Teams. We have strong team. We center around these ecosystems, and Team being one of the key ones, because of the types of things that Teams brings to the table. Like Liam's already discussed that, but like it's already deployed in most cases, or close to being deployed, because they're using 365 already. They already have that infrastructure. They already have Exchange. They already have Outlook. They already have all these pieces. And deploying Teams then just becomes a great extension of that. And from that, Logitech likes to say we're the further extension on into the room or into the individual personal space, whatever we're needing to do. And I like that we talked about hybrid working. I don't always love to use cliches, but some cliches are used because they resonate, right? They resonate often. And the one I hear recently when it comes to hybrid working is work is stopped becoming a place where you go and has become what you do, right?
Yep.
So that cliche resonates with me because we really need to make sure we have high quality experiences in the cloud, which is what Microsoft provides, one of the best, if not the best. And then we need to take that experience and bring it to your personal devices, your headsets, your laptop, and then into the meeting rooms as well. And we do that by growing our ability to make things simple and easy to use. Microsoft gives us a wonderful platform. So we're going to see a demo on Tap here in a few minutes. And Tap is our control. That's the center of everything. A lot of people love to look at our cameras and go, oh, wow, gee, this is all. But truthfully, the center of the ease of use of the Logitech portfolio revolves around Microsoft's ecosystem and Microsoft's graphic user interface that they provide us. We provide that center of the room control so that you can walk in the room and just start your meeting without having. I know they asked for a guide for an end user, and I'm like, that guide would actually be pretty small. If an end user, we built that guide for an end user, probably the video you made, and we'll show here later. Because there isn't a lot to it. I want to do a meeting in a room. How do I do that? If I'm going to pre-schedule that meeting, I'm going to open up Outlook. I'm going to schedule all the people in there. I'm going to invite that room into the meeting. I walk into the meeting and I hit join. That's the extent of all I need to know how to start a meeting when it's scheduled. When it's not scheduled, I walk into the room. I hit meet now. I find the people within my directory to call, and now I'm having a meeting. So the use of these meetings are very simple, and Logitech likes to take that even further because so one of the things we'll want to take is we'll take that center of the room control, and that was simple. But in olden days, I'll tell us a quick story. Years ago,
we've got an hour. We've got time for a long story.
Years ago, I was this young video conferencing engineer supporting all these rooms in this building, and Skype for Business was part of it. And this was a Skype for Business room running a competitor of ours products at the time. And we were supporting a lot of different products. So this is before I came to Logitech. So anyway, I had this large conference room that they were constantly complaining about the audio in the room. And I would go in there and I'd recreate it. I couldn't recreate what they were talking about. I couldn't hear so I decided one day I'm going to sneak into the back of a meeting and I'm just going to listen to see what if I can hear the audio. Well, I didn't hear the bad audio. I never did hear it that day. It took me 3-4 weeks before I figured out what was going on there. What I noticed when I went into the back of this meeting is that everyone in the room had taken their chairs and moved it to the one corner of the meeting room. And I asked them, I'm like, are you collaborating? Are you doing some kind of game? Or what do you do? What's going on? And they said, oh, no. That's where the camera was looking. Apparently, whoever had been using the camera before had zoomed it into that corner of the room, and no one wanted to pick up a remote control to readjust it and put it back for everyone else. So they just picked up their chairs and moved it into the shop. And it made me laugh, but it makes me understand people have a better experience when they don't have to interact with our technology as much as possible. If they don't have to pick up a remote and it just works and frames them in the shot, which is what our MeetUp does. And as I do this, I stand up, it's gonna automatically find me and frame me in the shot. If I have more than one person in here, it's gonna frame them in this shot. It's designed so that they don't have to pick up this thing to zoom in and out and hit presets. It's just going to work without messing with it. It's also going to adjust for audio in the room and lighting in the room. All these things, basically, from Logitech's point of view, we don't want you to notice our technology. We want you to have your meeting. We want the meeting to then work with what you're doing and then go from there. So that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, and we'll take this chance now. We will show a quick clip. There's a tongue twister of a Teams Logitech Teams or Logitech Tap and Teams conference room that we have within the building at D&H. Very handsome man did the demo, so we're gonna go ahead and throw it over to him, and we'll take a look at what that looks like in action. Or not. We'll give it one more chance. There we go. So here we are in our conference room, and in this conference room we have a complete Logitech Tap Microsoft Teams solution, and the heart of that solution really is the Logitech Tap. It is what everyone who is going to be using this conference room is going to be greeted with. And as you can see, the interface on it is very simple to use. On the left-hand side, you can see all the meetings that are scheduled for the room for that day. And on the right, you have some basic controls, whether you want to start just a presentation locally to the room, or if you want to start a new meeting altogether. But as you can see, we have a meeting set over here on the left, and we're a little late for it, so I'm going to go ahead and hit join and join this meeting already in progress. And the tap already does the work. It joins you to the Microsoft Teams meeting. We have a device already signed into the Teams meeting, and you can already see that right site in the Teams meeting has already found me within the room and has framed me up in the shot to make sure that I am seen very clearly to everyone that is on the Teams meeting. If we had multiple people in the room, it would reframe the shot to make sure that everyone could be seen. That's really the great thing about Right Sight. You never have to worry about the camera or mess with the camera at all. It takes care of that automatically for you. And the Logitech Rally Bar is amazing at that. So very simply, I was able to come into the room, join the meeting, and now everyone within this conference room can see everyone on the Teams meeting and vice versa. But what happens if I wanted to present? I have a Windows 11 device here that I'm going to use as a presenting device, and the Logitech Tap itself actually has the ability to loop that device into the tap so everyone can see that device, whether it be on the screen or in the meeting. And it's really just a simple HDMI connection from the tap into your device. In this case, it's our Windows 11 device. And in a couple of seconds, the Windows 11 device will not only show up on the screen, but it will also show up in the Teams meeting. And there you go. So if we had a PowerPoint presentation, we could start the presentation. Everyone within the room can see that presentation. Everyone in the Teams meeting can see that presentation. And also on the tap, if you wanted to be able to see the people that were in the meeting, there's a little button you can press to change your layout here. And then you can see, if you had a dozen people in there, you could see everyone that's on the camera as well. Very, very easy to use. Requires no training or anything like that. It's super intuitive. But there's also the ability to just be able to start an ad hoc meeting. So let's say me and a couple people needed to bring 1 or 2 people from teams into this meeting. We didn't have anything scheduled. How would that work? Well, I'm going to really just quickly hang up on this meeting real quick and show you how to do that. On the right-hand side, there is a new meeting button. I'm going to go ahead and hit new meeting. And from there, at that point, you can just start typing names that are a part of your team's group. I'm just going to start typing in my name. Oh, there I'm right there. And I show up here on the right-hand side. You can add as many people as like. You just hit invite, and it will start inviting those people to the meeting. I'm actually going to get out of the first meeting I'm in. I'm going to join this new meeting. And just like that, I've added a little echo. We'll get rid of that. And just join that meeting. We didn't have anything scheduled. You can add as many people as you like. If I want to keep adding participants, let's say we wanted to bring someone else, I just hit add participant and add the next participant. Very easy to use. Great solution if you're thinking about bringing in the Logitech Tap and into your Microsoft Teams solution. This is a great companion that makes the conference rooms infinitely easier to use. Thanks. Great job, Chris. Looking good today. He's looking good. He's looking really good.
He is. He's looking really good.
Really, really good. But it illustrates your point that it is just that simple to use. To be honest with you, when I did that demo, I had literally walked into that room 20 minutes before and kind of just like, oh, let's mess around with it, make sure it's like everything's working. It is that easy to use. There's no need for a long, complicated string of instructions for how people to work. You hit join meeting and you go.
So I want to bring up something else though, because it's great to give it. It's imperative we give a great user experience to the end user in the room, but it's also critical to give a great experience to the IT people or anyone who's managing it and working on it. And the Microsoft Admin Center as well as the Sync Cloud can help manage all of these devices across your platform, whether it's a small room like we're talking with MeetUp or our large rally bars like you were showing in the demo. We can manage them through both the Admin Center as well as our Sync Cloud, which is included. There's no extra cost for the Sync Cloud with these devices. It's just to not have to step in the room to update the software, to be able to turn on and off features, to be able to see if it's up and running and if things are connected, and be able to do it. And then with an added service, you can actually see insights and actually see occupancy counting, which is really important with, as we said, the hybrid working. A lot of people, you might have a 20 person room, but you're on phase 2 of coming back to the office after going to phase 3 and then going back to phase 2, right? You only allow 50% capacity in there, and you want to know, are people regularly going in there and going above the capacity level? So you need to know that. All that's available within with the Logitech platform to be able to see that and manage that stuff.
Excellent. I wanted to kind of take a small step back. We're kind of in the conference room right now, but Logitech has devices that do more than just small conference rooms. They have devices for individuals and they have devices for large conference rooms. I wanted to give you kind of a chance to run down what kind of solutions you have for just like an individual who is working from home but still wants to make sure that they have clean audio and video, and what kind of solutions you have for the much larger conference rooms, almost also to the size of your auditoriums almost.
Yeah, so perfect. Let's start with the small stuff. So we have bundles using our Zone Wired and Zone Wireless headsets, and when we just came out with some new in-ear headsets, and they're wired as well as wireless. So we have a full suite of bundles, and you pair them with our C930E cameras or our Brio, and we have these bundles built in. These bundles are critical that we built these bundles, because if you need to deploy a whole bunch of workers from home, you want them to have something simple and easy, so they have everything. So we have the bundles that'll give them everything they need. It'll give them a webcam. It'll give them the headset. It'll give them a high quality experience that way. And it'll include things like acoustic noise cancellation, and it'll include noise reduction technology in the background, because we know when you're at home working, sometimes it's your dog barking, sometimes it's something else going on. You need to be able to suppress that and have a good experience. But the MeetUp is an interesting one. It was designed for the conference room, and I'm using it here at home. In my opinion, it's one of my favorite devices for at home, for my office, for someone who likes to speak with their hands and move around a little bit.
I don't know what that's like at all.
Yeah. So the MeetUp, from the MeetUp down, but the MeetUp is still a great. I talk about the MeetUp because we have Rally Bar now, and we have the Rally Bar Mini, and we have some really cool new high-end cameras. MeetUp is still the highest selling product in Logitech's history. There's a reason for that. It's economical. It has it's feature rich for what it's designed for, and it's wonderful. So let's jump to the other side. So we have our Rally Bar, which if you'll go to our website, we typically will say, hey, this is for a medium room. And what we mean by that is, by itself, it's just designed for a medium room. It's got a 15-foot pickup range. It's got a 5x optical zoom on it, with a 3x digital zoom. Now, take that same MeetUp and add 3 microphones to it. That becomes a large conference room scenario. Obviously, it's designed as an all-in-one speaker bar, so it does really need to be front of the room. So we can move that into larger rooms and large rooms by adding additional microphones, and that expands the reach of those microphones, because the camera is a 15x 5 optical 3x digital camera that is a 4K. So even if you do a little bit of digital, Microsoft Teams never goes above 1080p, at least not yet. And when it does, we'll come up with a better camera, right? So anyway, or we'll have a different
I don't want it to go
function.
anything higher. I don't need anything higher. We're good. 1080p is fine. I don't need 4K. 4K.
That's always like years ago. I got a 512 SD card, and I remember thinking, "What am I gonna put on this? It's just too much. I'm never gonna need to go any higher than this." Give it a few years, you'll be like, "Why did we ever go back to 1080p?" But anyway, but right now we're all well within our current capabilities, and so the Logitech Rally Bar is probably our go-to large room solution when it's classic boardroom style. But then you ask the question, what do we do for training rooms? What do we do for our Rally Plus system? Is still our modular system that is all these that I'm talking about are certified for Teams, which means they work right with a Teams Nook or mini PC of some other manufacturer, and they're all certified to work in that realm. They all have our suite of technologies that we call Right Sense. So Right Sight is the auto framing we've talked about today. Right Sound is the noise reduction capability that I talked about a little bit. And Right Light is where it adjusts it, and even occupancy counting. So all of that comes in there, and it's modular. So you have the speakers, the mics, and you can grow that up to 7 additional mics in the ceiling. So you can have quite a large room with our Rally Plus. And then if you want to integrate with third-party audio systems and really create a big training room, we play that game too. What we do is, let's say we take Shure or QSC or Biamp or one of those audio systems. Our Rally camera by itself will give you a great high-quality camera, and our Tap will be the center of control with the mini PC. So Teams is all set there. Then you're going to offload all your audio to the DSP to give you high quality capability to expand those microphones out and using one of these certified Teams ecosystems that we're all integrating together. There is no need to move away from Teams. So someone might tell you, "Oh, we got to have all these third-party devices." There isn't. They have the certified large room audio systems set with Shure and Biamp, QSC, and others, and then with Logitech, we're going to be the center of control. We're going to take that graphic user interface that Teams gives us. We're going to give you that control, and we're going to be high quality camera in the room as well.
All right, so Carl, I think that answered your question about what to do with audio for very large rooms. Carl did have another question, and it's something that it's important to ask. Will the Rally or any of these solutions we're talking about from Logitech work with GoToMeetings or any other platforms as well?
Yes, Microsoft, shut your ears. Shut your ears. I'm just kidding, Liam.
Liam,
yes, so absolutely.
Yeah, take off your headset. It's okay for a second. We'll count to 5.
So there's a few ways we work with them. So Logitech, there isn't a solution out there that we don't lean into the USB-based peripheral side of things. It's where we got our start. Why would we ever leave the USB-based peripherals side, right? So Rally Bar Mini, MeetUp, Rally Plus, these are all great USB-based. You're going to pair them with either a dedicated PC or bring your PC into the room, right? That kind of scenario. So in the bring your own PC, you can do anything off that PC will do. That's a way we work. But also the Rally Bar and Rally Bar Mini now have the ability we're running what's called Collab OS, which is firmware that we built based on Android. And that Android application, we have the ability to run different ecosystems on it. So GoToMeeting, Ring Central, the big Z word, which I think that's the only one I don't think I want to mention in front of Liam. And then it is a complete certified Microsoft Teams room. So you can run as an Android without needing to pair a mini PC. And I know why people ask this, because it's hard to get PCs right now with the chip shortage. But you can get the full Logitech solution minus the PC. So you can get and deploy Teams today without adding a PC and get a Rally Bar, a Tap, and you're up and running. You can do that today with Microsoft Teams. Awesome. See how I switched it off of the GoToMeeting and brought it back to Microsoft? See how I did that?
And I'm going to segue to Liam because I got a question about Teams here. So we're just keep flowing. We got a lot of great questions coming in. So before we keep the conversation going, I want to make sure we run through some of these questions. One of the ones I saw came up specifically about Teams that I wanted to see if you had any insight on, Liam. Do you have any news about NDI integration within Teams? I personally thought I saw something a little bit ago saying that the Teams had the ability to now like broadcast over NDI. Can you tell us a little bit more about if Teams has any current features set with NDI and if there will be anything going forward?
So the roadmap, obviously being a moving target, is something that we're always chasing.
Too? Can you explain to people what NDI is if they don't know?
Sure. So the NDI interface basically allows you with the ability to leverage other, third-party and streaming capabilities. It's the company that really helped found like streaming technologies, NewTek with their TriCasters, really helped kind of like develop this kind of technology, and it really caught on to other platforms and applications being able to, leverage an ability to communicate across multiple protocols all in one single application. NDI is mainly used in like a broadcasting type of environment, typically TV, sports, things like that. Oftentimes where you have to multiplex a lot of signals together. But we are also starting to see that in the video collaboration environment as well. So now it's the ability to take multiple camera feeds, multiplex them together, much like we're doing today with this platform that we're using right now. Being able to stream those feeds all into one centralized source and send that all out. And that also cuts down on a lot of the network throughput. So you're not really having like so many different feeds that are all trying to fight for the available bandwidth. Things get consolidated and they tend to work a lot easier across corporate networks. I came from a content delivery background, and I've learned very quickly that most corporate networks were not designed with video in mind, and it tends to kind of bring them to a screeching halt. And technologies like NDI really help free up a lot of those resources internally. As for availability, yes, it is something that Microsoft is looking at bringing to market. Currently today, there's a little bit of feature sets that are available, but right now with our roadmap, and again, the obligatory disclaimer that it is a moving target, we are looking at very soon within the next quarter to start rolling out more features like this to expand on it. A lot of people may already be in like preview programs and such to be able to see these kinds of features and hopefully provide feedback to help them grow and mature before they're ready to be released. But I would say coming up very soon here, we will start seeing a lot more flood of feature sets, including NTI.
Cool. I personally, like for myself, I've only used NDI solutions when you're either, like you said, sending video from one place to another. The most common place that people use it, and they probably don't know they use it, if you're streaming, if you're streaming to Twitch, YouTube, whatever your platform is, and you're using a 2 PC setup, you're usually using an NDI connection between your gaming PC and your streaming PC to make that happen. So a lot of people are using NDI technology and not even knowing they are.
Right, exactly. And being able to leverage those things to not drain one system's resources to prioritize the network capabilities is really what NDI was designed to do.
Yeah. All right. Jeffrey has a question, and I wanted to touch on this one with you, Andrew. I was looking before the presentation starts, and I'm pretty sure it's in my backpack because I always carry it with me in my backpack. He wanted to know a little bit more about the Zone headsets. We're actually giving away 10 of them to randomly to the people that are watching here today. So if you're watching this now with us, you're eligible to win one of these 10 headsets. But tell us a little bit about the Zone headsets. It's been my go-to when I'm on the road.
So, the Zone headsets are Logitech's enterprise grade, team certified line of headsets. And we have, we have the Bluetooth wireless versions, as well as the USB based headsets as well. I'm not as schooled on talking about them, but I'll talk about them as much as I can. I spend a lot of my time on the video conferencing stuff. So
I can talk a little bit about them too. The reason I've personally been using them for myself when I'm traveling is they collapse really easily into this nice little neat form factor, and also all cell phones nowadays have the ability to wireless charge, so you probably already have one close to you. Those headsets as well have ability to wireless charge, so you just drop them on a wireless charger. I probably have a pair sitting on my desk at the corporate office on a wireless charger that's been there for a year and a half, spinning away. But it's great because then when next time you pick them up, they're fully charged, they're good to go. And like you said,
I think it's also useful to mention they work with our Logitech Unifying wireless peripherals, so you don't need to deal with multiple USB ports. We're gonna, you can manage them through a unifying dongle. Also managing them, so we can talk about high quality acoustic noise canceling, comfortable headsets, and great acoustic noise noise reduction technology for the rest of the room. Those are all great things, but also the ability to manage them and help give your end users to be able to set them through our Logitune software. Just so you know, the future of that is going to be Logitune and Logitech Sync, which is our cloud management for video conferencing. There will be some connectivity between them, but that is coming in the future. So kind of keep your eyes open for that. But all of our Zone headsets, you can buy the Microsoft versions on it. If you're a Microsoft Teams shop, which you probably are if you're on this call, or if you're thinking about it, you're on this call and you're moving that way. They're certified, which means that they're going to work seamlessly within the Microsoft ecosystem, and they have the ability, depending on which one you're doing, to start and stop your call and mute the call. That's all going to work just perfectly together. And so Yeah, and things like mute, like if I raise the mic
That's
boom
what I
on
love it for.
it, it's one of my favorite things
Yep.
in the world is be able to just like I don't have to go find my mouse to go mute. I can just pop that up. You know, when my dog just barks, you know, pop that up and then do it. So obviously, I'm using MeetUp today because I wanted to show that. But my go-to headset is a zone wireless headset. That's what I do. I leave it on all day.
Yeah, my go-to has been the Zone as well. I'm obviously in my broadcast area, so I've got broadcast headphones on right now. But when I'm just sitting around, you know, doing work, I've got the Zones, and the main thing I use it for is the mute feature because I can flip it up. I get a little audible beep knowing I'm muted, but then I forget to flip it back down. But you know,
So
then
let's talk really quickly
everyone likes
about...
to yell at you when you're muted and you're talking.
Yes, that's true. Let's talk quickly about the newest version, though. Within them, they're called the Zone True Wireless earbuds, and they're great. They sit in your ear. I think my only issue with these is that I have to charge them about midway through the day as compared to the classic Zone Wireless. They'll last me the entire day. But they're a really good experience, and without having a boom or anything else, and especially if you like to be on, like you don't like to have everything all on your head, these sit in your ear, they charge within the case, they work really well, and they provide great noise canceling. So yeah, the new Zone True Wireless, add the True to what we've already discussed, and those there, and they also have the wired version, so you can plug them in via USB. So if you're tied to your computer all day, you don't necessarily need wireless. That's another option as well.
Awesome. I don't. Greg's got a question. I don't want to speak for Logitech or you, Andrew, but I know you're not a Zones expert. But it is a question. How do Zones compare to headphones from like Bose or Sony? I would imagine Zones headphones differ from Bose and Sony's because they are tuned specifically for meetings and conferences, for your audio experience not only being heard but hearing others.
Yeah. So if you're going to compare us with them via music, we're going to have a good music. You're going to have a good, you know, you're going to hear your music. You're going to hear it well. You probably can pull up a Bose or Sony headset and go, man, that sounds just a little better on those. Yeah. But for video conferencing, for what we're doing within there with the acoustic noise canceling, noise reduction, and also being tuned for speech, human speech, ours are going to exceed theirs because that's where we focus all of our attention on, right?
Right. The next question I saw, Rodney was asking about the earbuds. Do they have a mute feature? I know they do. I was trying to look real quick to see how you activate it.
Touch the right ear, it mutes. That's
Neat. Then the next one it was important that I wanted to touch on. David asked, does the MeetUp camera require any additional hardwares, or is it a standalone product that requires a Teams Rooms license alone?
So the MeetUp is a USB peripheral that it does require. So think of it like it's a dumb device. I know marketing would probably kill me for saying that word. But
they're not here right now.
It doesn't have any kind of compute to it. It means it needs to attach to some sort of PC running Teams or some other device running Teams. We actually have coming out in November an Android-based peripheral that will be certified on Teams that will be running the Android appliance. MeetUp would work with that, but that's where the compute side is. That's what's going to make the call and do all that stuff. And the MeetUp is going to give you this great speakers, mics, camera, all in one, right? So it does require that, right? We have two devices that can work separate from that and work as standalone. I mentioned them a little earlier. The Rally Bar and the Rally Bar Mini have an embedded Android appliance built in. So in an Android environment, Android-based, maybe I want to use the Android-based version of Microsoft Teams or whatever, then I can use them that way. But other than that, they're still in a PC world. All of our devices are going to need to be tied to a Windows-based PC.
On that note, Liam, talking about Teams Rooms, how does a Teams Room work if you have to go to a meeting on a different platform, or you're not within the team's environment, does the team how does the team room adapt to that?
Yeah, I think that that's one of the like unsung secrets, I guess, in the industry right now. Is very few people realize that the Teams platform has the capability to leverage its own devices and still connect to other third-party applications.
What?
You would think that,
That Z
well,
word?
why wouldn't, right? Collaboration? Why wouldn't Microsoft try to lock everything down to its, its own ecosystem? And maybe about 10, 15 years ago, that kind of was the mentality of the business, but things have definitely changed with new leadership, and flexibility into other platforms has really been our key driving force. So to elaborate on that, a lot of people don't realize that they have the capability to leverage like a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting from an actual Teams Rooms device. They're under this premise that they think that, well, if I want to do one type of meeting, I need to buy this device. If I want to do this other type of meeting, I need to buy that device. Those days are gone. Now it's about flexibility and being able to leverage one device to do multiple things. And even though it's branded as an actual Teams Rooms device, we have a partnership both with Zoom and with WebEx to allow the use of those third-party systems on that Teams Rooms device. So really what would happen is, as long as that meeting is scheduled, it's going to show up on the device, the user interface, and when they're ready to take that meeting, they just walk into the room, press whichever associated meeting they want to take from there. And what happens is Microsoft opens a door at that point, and we connect to the other applications platform and UI. And for all intents and purposes, that meeting then at that point becomes either a WebEx meeting or a Zoom meeting. The interface is all WebEx, it's all Zoom, and actually Microsoft has nothing to do with it at that point until the call ends. Once that meeting ends, it reverts back automatically to a Teams Rooms device. So there's a lot of inherent flexibility with this, and it's not just from the PC perspective either, because most people would, pretty safe to assume, well, you want a Windows PC in the environment, right? Sure, that's great, but you have flexibility too. You can actually leverage Android as well. So we have a lot of device manufacturers who are doing a strong focus on things like Android to be able to maybe cut down on the amount of hardware. Maybe they don't want to put like a PC in the room too. They just want like that collaboration bar experience where they just, put the camera and mic and speaker system up, have the control pad, and that's it. And this is what's great about being able to leverage, platforms and solutions from manufacturers like Logitech as well. There's a lot of flexibility there, and you'll probably see Logitech components in the majority of the other OEM offerings that are out there. So I think the partnership really speaks for itself on flexibility.
Yeah, and I think that answered, Betty, answered a lot of your questions there about how easy it is for Logitech conference equipment to easily switch to a different platform. Even if you have a Teams room with the Logitech product, you can quickly connect to a different platform as well. It works quite well.
We also have a tool. We have a tool for, so if you're just worried about Zoom and WebEx, absolutely stay. You can make those calls. But we have a tool called Switch, and Switch brings in the ability where we don't even have to touch the Microsoft Teams room. You can walk in the room, and I like to use the word hijack. You can hijack the technology of the room, right? And literally we give you a single cable to do it. It's a Y cable, has both a USB-C and a USB-A on it. The end user, so in your day-to-day, you're going to do Teams calls, right? And I need to do something else. It could be Zoom. Well, it could be GoToMeeting. It could be Ring Central. It could be someone else. What you do is you plug a switch in and bring your laptop in, and you plug switch into your laptop. Now you hijack the technology of that meeting room, so your screen on your laptop becomes the screen in the room. The microphones become your microphones in the room. The speakers become your speakers. You can actually hold that meeting in just a regular room, taking advantage of all that technology. And when you're done, you unplug it. It switches back, no change to the Microsoft Teams room. It's a great way to do that without having to set up or worry about any of those other things. Whatever a laptop can do, you can do on that as well. So
cool. Liam, real quick, as we're kind of going to the top of the hour here, if you guys have any last minute questions, please feel free to ask them now. I did see one earlier that I wanted to kind of bring up to you. with the release of Windows 11 today and Windows 11 having Teams integration built into it, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the Teams integration that's built into Windows 11 versus the Teams application that you would download right now? Because there is some differences between those two, correct?
There are, yeah. So Teams Chat really is the functionality that's going to be built right directly into Windows. It's not designed to take the place of the full-fledged Teams application itself, especially when with things like meeting and calendar integrations and such. I think while we were starting this session, I saw an email come through about some of the features that have been released for that. And admittedly, I haven't read that message just yet. So being that it was just released today, I've got some backfilling of knowledge to do for myself. But I think that you should be able to see the info directly on the release page.
Yeah, I'm sure all of us are jumping out and upgrading all of our systems to 11. We take a staggered approach to upgrades here. We all should. I'm not saying that I've been using Windows 11 for 3 months now, and it's been pretty good. But, be careful with your upgrades. Take your time, guys.
Yeah, I started it internally. We have our own dog food version of it, and I thought, okay, what the heck? I'll roll the dice and see how it goes. And I've been pretty pleased, and I've been waiting for the full release.
Yep. So I've been pretty impressed. If you guys have a system or two laying around that you guys can upgrade to Windows 11, I'd highly recommend you do it. Play around with the Teams that's built in, but like you said, it's not a replacement for the Teams application as it sits today.
Yep. By the way, we didn't ask for that plug from Chris. That was all on him.
No, yeah, I like to just throw plugs. I mean, you can just send me the money later after the presentation. It's fine. Andrew, and I'm going to ask Andrew a far worse question than that, so you got off easy. Jeffrey had a question basically boiling down to, with Teams just kind of being a cloud platform, it's easy to kind of get your hands on. If you want to get Teams, you can get up and running with no issues. Right now, however, there's a backlog of products, especially around a lot of Logitech conference equipment. When do you guys see the supply issues starting to shore up as we kind of move forward?
So there is some specific Logitech products that have been backlogged. So for instance, Rally Plus systems, but it really has to do with the bundling SKUs. So we have all the products, and so that's working themselves out as we speak really quickly. Most of the other Logitech-based products are reasonable, and I'm saying reasonable in the current environment, right? I'm not talking about reasonable a year ago or when maybe you could get them and you could have them in a few days. We're likely to get, if you ordered a strictly Logitech product today, you're likely to get it within 2 weeks. Now, obviously, check with your account manager. I'm not an account manager, so they're going to have real lead times on the specific products. But from what I'm seeing anyway, where we're seeing the biggest delays are when we have a full bundled solution that includes some sort of PC. And the reason is we've gone to great lengths to work with Microsoft to build these fully bundled solutions that include everything. But that's because that means there's a single SKU, which means if any one piece of that SKU is held up, the entire SKU is held up, which means then you're delayed. If it was a medium room solution with a Rally bar and Tap, but you got the Windows-based version of that, right, with an Intel NUC or with maybe a Lenovo or HP Slicer or something else, and that piece is being held up, it holds up the whole SKU. Yeah. So work with your account managers directly on that. Work with those people. Make sure they're aware of what you're doing, and there might be some ways to work around it. Now, we always have to make sure when we're selling Microsoft products that we give you a full solution. So we don't typically sell a Microsoft-based solution that doesn't have a full solution in there. So if I sell you a Rally bar, it's going to, for Microsoft Teams, for Android, it's got to include Tap, or we're not selling it to you. right? You might, at least not for that reason, you're not going to get some of the things. And buying the bundled solutions are really important because you get some extra services that are tied in. First of all, you get your tech support covers the entire bundle as one SKU, right? So tech support's going to cover that whole thing as a Microsoft-based SKU. So you don't want to break that service model. Plus, we have what's called the Jumpstart service in there. So if you're a customer, or if you are a customer, or if you have a customer that is not really skilled to deploy Microsoft Teams rooms, the Jumpstart service will get them up and running and get them going and get them deploying that, right? Where if not, if they're left on their own, and that's kind of, those are important things to keep in mind. So definitely work with your account managers on there, and I know, and D&H, because they can give you lead times on those, and it might just simply be because you need the Windows-based PC, and Windows-based PCs are hard to come by right now. So
yeah, the chip shortage is affecting literally everything from washing machines to cars to PCs at this point. One last question, because Aaron's asking the real questions here. When are we going to get a Microsoft/Logitech VR Teams room headset? Let's do this. And if there's not one in the pipeline right now, let's us three collaborate and get this done. We'll make some banger to get some money.
Wow, that's
I think the HoloLens.
Yeah, HoloLens. When can we start with looping HoloLens, and how can we get Logitech in on this?
Exactly. I would dare to say that this is not the first iteration of such a thought that they have had. So it'd be very interesting to see how things expand in the very near future.
I'm a big fan of VR. I think it's unlike a lot of things, it's kind of stuck around, and it's starting to find its way into mainstream. And that the VR AR technology, as it continues to advance, I am excited to see how it kind of also slowly creeps into the conference room areas as well, because it's going to start kind of slowly creeping into everything.
I can't wait for the day when it's like the Jedi Council. That's what
yes.
that's what I'm looking for.
Where we're just going to be sitting in a room around a table, and it's just going to be holograms of us in like 10 years tops. We'll reconvene in 2031 on October 5th. Put it in your calendars, guys.
Okay, I'm putting it in. I'm gonna call you on that day.
We're gonna have the Logitech
and it's my birthday.
Teams.
I'll remember October 5th because that's my birthday. So 2031.
Oh, it's your birthday today! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Oh, I'm not tired.
He's trying to plug it that it was his birthday today.
I want people to send me cake. That's what I want. I want people to send me cake because I need more sweets in my life.
Well, you're like Santa Claus. Instead of getting gifts for your birthday, you're giving away 10 Zone headsets. So that's very nice of you.
Happy birthday to me, to all those who are getting Zone headsets.
So 10 of you are getting birthday presents on Andrew's behalf. Andrew, Liam, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
If any of the viewers have any additional questions after this presentation is over, you can email us at solutionslab.com if you have any Logitech-specific questions around product availability, things of that nature. We have an email, logitechspecialist@dnh.com you can contact. If you have any team-specific questions for our Microsoft Teams, email cloudsolutions@dnh.com. This specific broadcast will be available within the next 24 hours on dnh.com. /D&HTV. If any of you guys are interested, we are now currently running a promo through October 31st where you can get $20 instant rebate on Logitech group or Logitech meetups. That information is available in the resources. Please take a look at that. We also have a couple of upcoming broadcasts that I want to bring to your guys' attention. On October 13th and 14th, Intel will be hosting their TST invent platform. My gosh, I can't speak all of a sudden. That's going to be available for more information on dnh.com/solutionslab. October 21st. October 31st is a different thing. October 21st, Cisco Meraki will be back for Meraktoberfest. They're here every year to do that event. It's always very fun. So please sign up for that one. We'll have more information on that at dnh.com/solutionslab. But with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I want to say a big thank you to Andrew and Liam for joining us today. And hope all of you guys out there who are watching have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.